Welcome to SUSD Spotlight, your go-to source for all things happening within the district. Whether it's celebrating student and staff achievements, delving into trending education topics, or highlighting inspiring human interest stories, we've got you covered. Join us as we illuminate the incredible endeavors taking place in our schools and forge connections within our community. Get ready to be informed, inspired, and engaged as we embark on this journey together, spotlighting the extraordinary in SUSD. Well, welcome to another edition of SUSD Spotlight. Today we're excited to welcome into our studio the new head football coach of Saguaro High School, Darius Kelly. Welcome,
Yes,
Darius.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Thank you so much.
So we're really interested in learning a little bit more about you, your vision for the program, kind of your backstory. So maybe you could start by just telling us a little bit about your own personal history.
Yeah, so I was a military kid. I grew up, lived in a couple of different places. Fayetteville, North Carolina, Germany is where I lived as well. So we lived everywhere. We ended up moving to Sierra Vista, Arizona, my freshman year of high school, and down in Sierra Vista, Arizona. And that's really where, I really found my way, get out here in the desert and started, learning how, who I am as a person, as a man, and all those things. And really where I learned and started get into my journey about football and life, So from Sierra Vista, I went over to Pima Community College is where I played football. And there, that was, if anybody knows anything about junior college football, it is a struggle. You have to get up, go to class yourself. No one's banging on your door. No one's telling you what to do. You hardly get any meals. You got to go work and have a job on the side. So I did all those things, and I came in, and that's where I learned to really work and grind, and having to get up every day and run to practice for one, and being the first one there and the last one to leave is what I learned there. And and from that journey, I went over to Syracuse University, and that's where I played defensive back for a couple of years under Doug Maroon, Scott Schaefer, some really good coaches who moved on to great places from there. And from there, I had a little bit of stint in the NFL with the Bills and the Chargers, and from there as well, ended up coaching at a Division II school in Manchester, New Hampshire. They're starting to see I lived everywhere, done it all. But and from there, I ended up coming back to Arizona and coaching high school football at Buena High School and Catalina Foothill High School in Tucson, Arizona. And then from there, I did a little stint with the junior college head coaching there, and then ended up at Saguaro High School, and just as a volunteer. I ended up coming here last year just to volunteer to help. I just wanted to give back to the game because the game has given so much to me. And I really, really wanted to give back to everybody that's poured into me. I wanted to give that back to these kids for free. And it just happened, going through last year and just seeing how such a great program it is here, and, seeing all the great people, meeting and going through all the things. And it just made me realize that, this is a great place to be. And, this opportunity came up, this year, and at first I said no, and I didn't want to take on that responsibility. But nothing happens for no reason. Everything happens for a reason.
So tell us a little bit about your vision for the program. Saguaro, has a storied history of multiple state titles, 14, I believe, including last year.
Yep.
What's your vision for where the program is and where you hope to take it?
Yeah, as you know, Saguaro has done so many great things. So we have won a lot of games. We've done that. But to me, there's still so much more to do at this program. And that's both on and off the field. Everybody asks me what your vision is. I speak about this every day. We talk about hitting the target, right? Everybody's going to come through those doors, right? And they're not necessarily going to hit the target. But when they leave out of our doors, out of our facilities, off our campus, out of our administration building, I want them to go after that target. And what that is every person that walks out, I want them to understand what, being tough is, both mentally, physically, and emotionally tough in everything that they do, right? And having that accountability piece, not being a finger pointer, but being a thumb pointer. Like, what can I do to be better? What can I do to be the best version of myself, and all those things? And the R in there we talk about is relentless, having a relentless attitude and going after every little thing in your life, having a goal, and because life's going to happen. It really is. You're going to come across some things in your life that you're never going to realize what happened. But if you have these tools that I talk about on a daily basis, you'll get past that. And just so having that relentless effort and not letting anything stop you from getting to where you're going to get to. And the G that we talk about, and there's growth. measuring that growth, again, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Okay, I made that mistake yesterday, coach. I made that mistake yesterday, mom, dad. But this same opportunity to make the right decision has come up. I'm going to make the right decision today, so those type of things. And the other thing we talk about is the equality piece, having that atmosphere in our community, having that atmosphere in our locker room, inviting people in, inviting everybody in. You might not look like me, you might not talk like me, but let's sit down and try to understand each other and what makes us go and what makes us not go, makes us take steps back. And those are some of those things that are important to me, and building that trust factor in our program. And those are the things that, I envision when people walk out of our program, walk out of our doors, that they're making strides to get that. And you know what? And everything else would take care of itself. The wins, the losses, all those things in life. If we go through that plan, we stick to that, everything else will take care of itself.
It's neat to hear you talk about that growth mindset that exists both on and off the field. Obviously, football totally can inform the culture too.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, though, being a part of such a legacy program and all this success over so many years, decades, in fact, is there pressure? Do you feel the pressure? Do the guys feel the pressure? And how do you balance that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there is a lot of pressure. We all want to win. All right, we all want to take this program where we want it to be and continue to make it go. But, to me, if you're a true competitor, that's what you want. You want that type of pressure. You want people every game we have, every competition, we have these 7-on-7 tournaments. We go out here and there and all that. Every team wants to beat us. Like there's no question about it. We get everybody's best game. So you have to be on your A game. And how we balance it is making that our practice is very competitive, and making sure they understand that piece inside of the locker rooms and inside of also in our meeting rooms. Understand somebody's coming to take your job, and that's life, right? When you go out into the real world, there's always somebody trying to take your spot and take your crown. So you always have to make sure you're on your A game. My coach used to say this to me all the time: every day is an interview, right? Every single day is an interview. So you have to be on your A game at all times. Somebody's gonna come take your crown.
So we're in the desert. It's hot in the summer. You talk about practices. You talk about how you have your team prepare. What are the kinds of things you do to ensure that students are prepared physically, mentally? You talk about that toughness. And as you're getting ready for the season, what are the routines that you're establishing with the team?
Man, for one, right, we get up. Some of our guys have to get up about 5 o'clock in the morning. We practice in the morning because of the heat, right? Like making sure when they get up in the morning, make sure they have, for one, they have a plan the night before, what they're going to do coming into what they got to do for the next day. And also in practice, again, like I mentioned, we're physical, right? We push them, we challenge them, and we make sure we have competition periods inside of our practice and put them up against adversity inside of practice. And even inside of our meeting rooms, right? We want to challenge them from a mental standpoint, right? Okay, putting them up on the board, right? Putting them up against each other and making sure they understand what the playbooks are and putting them in tough situations, right? Because in life, you're going to be put in tough situations, right? And putting, sometimes, we play a little bit of mind games with them, right? To see how far we can actually push these guys to where they need to be. Because, look, you never know what's going to happen in the field and off the field. And so just creating that atmosphere is a huge piece of what we do on a daily basis.
All right, so Coach, you were talking about how Saguaro is a very different place than some of the others where you've worked before. What exactly makes our practices and our season different and this experience different?
Yeah, so, I mean, not a lot of people know this, but Saguaro is a small school. We are a small 4A school, and we play a tough 6A schedule. For us, so we really have to be dialed in on how we do practices and how we do film studies. There's a lot of time and efforts that goes into it. So the administration part on the back end is the way we film everything in practice. I mean, all of our coaches have either played at a collegiate level, a pro level. It's not just roll out the football and play. It is a collegiate light style of football and program that we do here, from film, football, nutrition, weight room, everything that we do, and even from the coaching staff as well.
In addition to the daily grind and all the work that our students are going through, sometimes there's a lot of pressure that students feel, and maybe even the coaches, pressure to be successful in the classroom, pressure to perform at an elite level so you can get that D1 scholarship offer and be able to go to the next level. Many of our students aspire to play in the NFL. And through all of that experience and the pressures that we have, sometimes it can be very taxing from a mental perspective. What are the things that you do and the things that you provide in terms of support for the students related to navigating those pressures and supporting their own mental health?
Yeah. So for me, right, personally, I'm starting to learn this as an adult, right? I never did it too much as a child. And even from, my community, right, it's always frowned upon about taking care of your mental health, right, and going to talk to somebody and professionally, because whether you feel like you're good or not, there's always something to talk about. And for me, I've gone through a lot of challenges. I lost my mother, like I've lost a lot of family members, all those things. So for me on a daily basis, and I always thought I was okay, right, until I went to go talk to somebody, and man, it really is a lot of things that, I need to address in my life. So for me, I professionally go talk to someone to help me through those challenges that have happened in the past that I may not even understand what's going on. And I encourage all of our students, athletes to do that, and I sit down and talk with them individually, right? That's another thing that I do. And I want to make sure they have a safe space to come talk to me. And that's important to me because it wasn't always, when I look back, I didn't always have that, or was never presented to me as a student athlete that, hey, like, it's okay. Like, you can come talk to me. Like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to go through these things, and it's also okay to go talk about it. So, for me, I encourage those things. There's also things that I want to start presenting to these guys, and one of the things as we go on, start having that a part of our program. Right, someone that these guys can pick up the phone and call, not me, right? Not me, but somebody who I had know nothing about that they can go help out. Because these kids go through a lot of stuff on a daily basis, and the pressure that they go through off the field, not just on the field, is tremendous. So I present a safe space for them to come talk to me, and I also encourage everybody around me to go find that professional help and seek that help that you need to get to where you need to be. So, but the pressure is real, and I want to help guide them through it because I've been there. I'm not that much older than them. Right. So I try to relieve a lot of that pressure with saying, like, it's okay. Like, this is normal. You're not getting the calls that you're getting. You're not getting the offers that you may think you may deserve, but this is why, and this is the reasons why things are the way they are now. It's just different, So making sure they have tools in their bag that when life comes at them, I know how to handle this, that type of things.
Well, thank you for modeling that and showing our students it's okay to be vulnerable, to understand that, sometimes we need to step back and take the time and lean on other people to be able to address those challenges.
No doubt. Absolutely.
And how does that discipline translate into the classroom? Yeah. How do you connect? You have the student athletes, not athletes first. Yep. How does what you're teaching them on the field translate to their success in the classroom?
Yeah, I mean, from a approach, right? It's you start with the approach. Everything you do, you have to approach it like a professional, right? When I talk to these guys when they go into the classroom, they're sitting there. You have to sit in the first two rows. That's one of the things we talk about, sitting in the first two rows, right? That means for one, that you care. You're going to be attentive. You're not sitting in the back playing with your phone and doing those things, right? You're the first one.
We giggle because we're all sometimes guilty of that, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? And when being the first one to class, right? I'm teaching those guys, look, if you want to get somewhere, you want to be the best, you need to be the first one there, right? So being the first one in class, asking the teacher those questions, right? You want to work hard, right? Staying after practice and doing the work, and staying after class, asking the teacher, what can I do to get better? And instilling that in these guys on a daily basis, a growth mindset. What can I constantly do to get better, both on and off the field? And it to me, this game teaches you all those lessons, and some people run from it, but with the ones who run towards it, it just works out greatly, so that's some of the things we do.
I know we were talking a little bit too about your practice schedule in the summer, and I'm wondering, with this heat, you talked about practicing in the morning, but I mean, is there even enough water? And you've got trainers out there and a team of people that are supporting these students.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we go in the morning. We have we have probably one of the best trainers, I'd say. You know, I'm being biased, but Nikki, she is amazing. I think she's been with Saguaro for maybe 15 years, 13, 15
Long
years.
time.
Long time. So, you know, she does a great job of making sure these guys are taken care of from that standpoint, you know, from, you know, making sure that they're taped right, making sure when she checks their, you know, checking their bodies, all those things. She does a thorough check on these guys and make sure they're good to go. You know, from our equipment manager, Nagi, who's been there for a long time as well, right? He does a great job of making sure the equipment's are right, making sure everything is certified and sending that stuff off and that they're good to go. But, you know, it takes a village. It really, really does. There's so many moving parts to a practice. You know, with me being a head coach now, I'm starting to realize that. And here, you know, it's a lot different than a lot of places. Saguaro is a lot different than a lot of places. You can go somewhere else and it won't be those same challenges or same opportunities. But here, there's so many moving parts. But when they gel together, you know, you get 14 state championships out of it. So, yeah, it's pretty cool to see.
So what will it feel like? What will it be like on the first night of your first home game as head coach of Saguaro? Yeah,
it's going to be surreal. I'm going to be super excited. I'm definitely going to be a little nervous, but I'm just glad that this is my third go around at being head coach. So I know how to kind of handle those nerves a little bit more now. But for me as a coach, looking at it as a program wide, looking at how young we are as a team, if we can stick together, get better, and not give up on themselves and continue to mentally and physically get better on a daily basis, that's where I feel like the successes will take care of itself as time goes on.
Are there wins that you're looking for off the field too?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I definitely want these guys to for one, I want to have the highest GPA team that Saguaro's had in history. I really, really do. And I think we have the capability of doing it. And a lot of these guys that are here, I mean, I think we definitely can have that. And, you know, for the district, I definitely want to have the highest GPA team in the district. I really do. And that's a goal for me. But I also wanted to be the highest GPA team in school history at Saguaro. And I think we can do that just off of seeing the guys that are here and what they've been doing here in the past.
So there's a lot of motivation happening both on and off the field, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
Well, you paint a very inspiring picture of the future for Saguaro football.
Yeah.
And it's a pleasure to be able to have the conversation with you, Darius. I'd like to ask our guests at the end of each podcast if there's a specific teacher or someone in the educational system that had a positive impact on your life that you could elevate. We like to be able to celebrate the people who have contributed to youth development. And if you have someone in your life who kind of made that difference, we'd love to hear that story.
Yeah. I mean, I would say my high school coach, Matt Keogh, comes to mind. And he did a whole lot for me as a child. You know, for one, someone who moved to a whole totally different state, from North Carolina to Arizona. You know, he just brought me in. For one, he helped me. He sent out letters upon letters, made calls upon calls to make sure that I get into colleges. And he's still to this day, right? He sends out, if I call him up, he's a letter of reference for everything that I do. You know, he's always had my back. He's taught me so many lessons both on and off the field. And I can't thank Coach Matt Keogh enough for everything that he's done for me through these years. I mean, I was, 13, and now I'm 32, 31 years old now. And here I am. You know, he's still a guy that's been in my life and still picks up the phone and calls me on a daily basis. So those are the type of relationships that I want to continue to cultivate in our program. And, you know, I would love for me to be that to another child. And that's why I do this. That's exactly why I do this, for those reasons, for those type of relationships. You know, 10, 15 years down the road, they can pick up the phone and say, hey, coach, you know, what about this? And ask me for favors. You know, that's the biggest thing. I still call him coach to this day. You know, it's weird that I call him Matt Keogh. He's Coach Keogh.
I was going to say, once coach, always coach. You know, I think my dad, even from Little League, is still coach when you see him in the grocery store.
No doubt.
It's so funny. I love that.
No doubt.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that story, for sharing your story. We want to wish you well in the season ahead. We'll be cheering for you and your team and looking forward to celebrating the accomplishments both on and off the field. And that will conclude this episode of SUSD Spotlight. We want to thank you for joining us and encourage you to join us anytime and place that suits your schedule. Tune into Spotlight as we shine a light on the extraordinary stories that make the Scottsdale Unified School District a truly exceptional place.
And please take a moment and log on to our website, susd.org/spotlight, and pitch us some ideas for future episodes.